Hey everybody, this is Devin with Homeschool House Calls. We're actually streaming into 3 groups tonight, Susan. I am the admin in most of your groups. I am the owner of How to Homeschool, and we're with Susan. She's like my BFF, and she is over homeschooling super moms. And we're also going into a local group for kindergartner and preschoolers because
Hey, everybody.
I'm their mama too, and I wanted to make sure that they saw this information. So anyway, tonight we are doing what's the deal with phonics, and Susan and I were talking before we came on here. Neither one of us learned to read with phonics.
No.
Neither one of us. So imagine if you have not learned to read with phonics, phonics can be very intimidating and stressful.
Yeah,
I
and I want
mean,
to know how many mamas are like you and me,
yeah,
Devin, where
I
they didn't learn
most
to read using phonics. I'm
Most of the
really
people I know,
curious.
yeah, most of the people I know, post below if you're still watching, because I see people popping on, post below if you learn to read with phonics or if you remember learning how to read, because that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to remember if I remember learning to read, and I don't. I'm sure it was kindergarten
I'm sure it was.
or first
And
grade, somewhere between there, because it's like a process, but I'm like, I don't remember that.
yeah, because
I
like you and I
remember when
talked
I
about,
started reading. I mean, like when it
yeah,
really became something I loved to do, 4th grade. So, I don't know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, so let's kind of dive in here. So I have
Well,
lots.
wait,
I
I
have
gotta shoot,
lots of.
I gotta toot your horn here for a second,
Okay,
Devin.
come
Okay,
on.
so this is gonna be really helpful because, excuse me, Devin has homeschooled 5 children
Yeah.
from preschool on up, so
Well,
she's
yeah.
gonna have a lot of great information for
I've
you.
taught 4 to read, and I'm in the middle of teaching 1. She's almost finished with the actual curriculum, and then we'll move into the next step. And that's something I'm going to tell you tonight. There is more than curriculum is involved. And they don't tell you that. That's what I get very aggravated with homeschool just phonics curriculum in general, is they don't tell you that when you finish that curriculum, you've still got to practice, because it's not something they're not ready to read on their own then. But we're going to go over that tonight. Okay.
Sounds
I got
awesome.
you. So anyway, so what do I need to teach before I start a phonics curriculum? Okay, so most of the time when I'm talking to mamas, y'all know me, I talk to mamas all the time. Phonics is a big conversation that comes up. And most of the time they want to know, how do I teach my kid to read? And then your eyes get this big. And I get it, because I was there. What was it? I started teaching Cole, and Cole was 4 when I started homeschooling. I really kind of started before. Um, I popped off for a minute. Sorry, guys. I was going to just teach him for preschool, and he was a toddler. He was 2. And then by the time kindergarten came around, I was hooked and not going back. So the first thing you got to do is you're doing the ABCs and the sounds. Do not even pick up a curriculum, or even try to even think about it until you finish that, because that is your first place you've got to go. And I'll tell you what I used. I used a company. It was not even a company. 2 things I highly recommend for this stage is Letter of the Week, because it's like a full curriculum for teaching ABCs. Free. It's been free for 20 years. And then starfile.com, they have the little videos with the letters. And Olivia almost taught herself to read just learning her sounds. I remember the day she typed her name on my Facebook page, and I didn't even know she could do that.
That's wonderful.
The things you learn, isn't it funny? That's the thing. So the first thing you've got to do is they've got to know their ABCs and their sound. I call them letter recognition and sound recognition. Don't even worry about a curriculum until then. Then after that, we're moving on, Susan. Well, did you do ABCs with your littles before they went into kindergarten, daycare, or
I
did you have them
did.
all in daycare when you were little? So what did
They were
what
all
did
in
you?
daycare. I mean, because I was a working mama, And
Yeah.
when my kids were young, they went to public school. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, we at night and weekends, we would practice ABCs and counting and yeah.
All that fun stuff. So this is like, it's not, it's anybody can benefit from, mamas are teachers from the get-go, even if they don't homeschool. They're
Hmm.
teachers. Anyway, okay, so, and this is my next point. Me and Susan, like we are talking about this, and that we did not learn with phonics. There are other ways to learn to teach your children to read, and I didn't learn that way. Um, that is usually one of the challenges with moms will have is they cannot um, express or they don't know what that sound like. You'll get the like here, you'll get it here. This is the curriculum that I have used with my kids, and it's like, okay, let's see here. Can you see that?
Yes.
Now these are simplified. I know these pretty quick what these sounds make, but sometimes you'll get to some and it's like I would feel like a deer. Let's see, like that one. Well, maybe this side. Let's see. I can't get to that side. Maybe this side. Okay. DW. Now, how do you feel like you would even try to say that without any other words or letters, not words? That it's
That's a
stressful.
good point. Yeah, because if you
It's
don't have an
stressful.
example,
And this curriculum is awesome. They give you an example, but if you have not learned how to speak, if you not learned to read with phonics, you look at that and you're going, I don't even know what that is. Let's
yeah.
see.
So, hey, Devin, can you re-show that
This
book and then tell us the name of
yeah.
that book? And
This is called, the name of the company is American Language Series. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. There. My light gets in the way. American Language
yeah,
Series. I use this. I've used it with all five. I actually, with Elysia, my youngest, I tried several other curriculums and I realized it was causing me more stress. And so I just went back to what I've used before. It even has a math and it says kindergarten, but I've used it for first grade, second grade. Um, whenever I started, I mean, I have one that I started like in first grade before I ever started it. They don't even have a clue what the K means. So it's I think the set is like 150 maybe at the most for the whole set with math, and so yeah, they should probably pay me money to advertise
well,
them
there
because
you.
I really feel like they're one of the easiest, at least for me. They might pay me money, but yeah, we do the math and the language arts, so it's like one set, and that's all I do for kindergarten. I don't actually do anything else until after they learn to read, and that's close to third grade. And that may not be the popular opinion, but my main goal when they're in elementary school is for them to read well and independently, where mama is not reading the curriculum for them, and to be strong in math. So I want them strong in those two things. And then after they can read well, then I start adding everything else,
Do you
which is
start
usually
spelling in, Devin, when they're
I've
starting
done
to learn
I,
their
this
phonics and stuff like that, and
this
they're learning to read?
curriculum. Yeah, not really. This curriculum has a workbook with vocabulary and spelling and handwriting, but I'm not a fan of it. I feel like it's too soon. So you could actually put those on the shelf and just reintroduce them later, or do them if you feel like you need to. That's I guess
Yeah, everybody got to do their thing their way,
personal
right? When it
preference.
comes to homeschooling.
Yeah, personal preference, but I feel like it takes away from the fun of reading. For me, it made me more stressed. And my point is, I want to be relaxed. I want joy when they're learning to read because I want them to, because when they finish this, they're about on a second grade level when they finish the whole curriculum. It's actually two books. I have two math books, two phonics, and then two spelling and vocabulary and handwriting. But I don't do that spelling. I don't do that one. I just put it on the shelf and save it for later. But anyway, I'm chasing. I can chase rabbits all day long. So anyway, so there are other ways to teach your child to read. I prefer phonics, and I think it's a good, solid approach because then they can read any word out there. But there's a couple of other ones, and I'm going to go over them. There's probably about 5, and I've got them running across the screen. But I'm not going to go over all of them because some of them I don't think they're really worth that. They're okay, but I don't think they're in this basic situation. You would probably need them more if you had special needs, and you can talk to me if you want to know more about the other ones. So anyway, so we got the phonics approach. That's kind of what familiar. We all hear it. We all think we know what it is. And that's basically teaching word recognition through learning letters and the sound association. So one funny thing with Lacey, I did not teach her letter names very well. And so there are some letters that she will say, oh, that's a she doesn't know the name. And that was my fault. I shouldn't have done that. But that's what she does. And I'm like, okay, you mean an M? So all I do, I'm not stressing and going, oh, you got to remember that it's M. I just repeat, oh, an M. So eventually it starts clicking that, oh, that's an M. So it's just,
Yeah, I like the idea of phonics also because I remember how many times people would say to me, "Well, just sound out the word."
and you're
Well,
like,
well, if you've
you
never
didn't
learned
know that. You didn't
phonics,
know how to do
you
that.
don't know how to sound it out.
No,
You
because
know?
most of us learned it's called the linguistic method or whole language method, and that's using a whole word, and you're basically memorizing. You have word families like cat, sat, mat, and those are fun. With Lacey, I tend to do a little mix of these 3 that I'm talking about because I like having a little bit of all of them. And she likes families. She likes the idea of families and mother and babies and stuff like that. So she likes that. So I put that in there. But most of us learn by memorization, and sight words are always there. Even with phonics, you'll have sight words in your curriculum. So I like to do a mix. And then there's the next one is multisensory approach. And it's basically assuming they learn best several different ways. You're hearing, writing, seeing, playing. And I kind of like that. I like to throw in a lot of games when people, moms will say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. I'll say, okay, add in games, sound hunts, word hunts, sight word family hunts, and just you give them lots of games and things to do. And I think it's a lot of fun. I like to keep, Play-Doh, fine motor skills. I'm not really into doing handwriting yet. I push the fine motor stuff, but you can make ABCs with the Play-Doh, and that helps their hands and gets them ready to write and control those muscles. So I'm big on fine motor skills now. I'm gonna get rid of that ticker. But those are the top 3 that are usually used. Most people in this day and age in schools are using phonics and sight words. That's what you'll usually see. I like them. I think it's a good approach. My husband is a native Russian speaker, and they learn phonetically and have forever. That's how the language is. If you can learn the letters, you can read everything with no problem.
Yeah, I like the idea of blending the 3 different approaches just because
Yeah.
the multisensory allows you to do the games like you said,
Mhm.
and it can really make it fun for the kids, but also you're learning what is their learning style.
Yeah, and that's a
Mm.
lot of it because you can look at all these different methods, but if you don't know how your child learns best, then you're not going to know which one's going to work the best. I like to have a mix, worksheets, games, anything physical. Lisi is I have had some they like to see it. But most littles want to bounce. So just doing lots of activities, adding in games. Teacher Monster to Read, which is a free online on the laptop. It's free. They have tons of games in there. So there's lots of stuff out there. We have a lot of information now that we didn't. When I started way back in the day, about the only thing free I could find was Letter of the Week. But now we have so much free. It's just unbelievable. So we're going to move on to my second part. So how do I teach my child? I'm going to go over phonics because this is about phonics. I'm not even going to worry about the other ones. But I'm going to tell you some of my top tips. And Susan might be able to throw some in there. The first thing you got to do is relax. You got to just take a deep breath. And I wish somebody had told me this. I don't know. 18 years ago. Teaching your child to read is a journey that it goes over a course of a couple of years, and don't get stressed over that. It's fun years, and believe me, it's fun. But it is a process that takes several years. There's no race. Don't rush. It's one step at a time. And we're going to talk about steps. I call them steps. The first one I talked about earlier is teaching them how the ABCs and the sounds. That's the first level. You cannot even proceed to doing something with this until you get past that, because that's just what it is. And there's tons of free resources, tons of free games. You can find it everywhere. Let's see. Don't take the next step until the last step is completed. If you do that, you might fall. I think a lot of times that's where moms will get stressed, because you feel like your baby is not progressing fast enough. If they're not ready to take that next step, you just keep reinforcing. You don't stop curriculum. You keep reinforcing what you've been learning until they get stronger, and then they know everything, and then you take that next step. Let's see.
Yeah, I know a lot of mamas like to teach to mastery, and really, when it comes to reading and
Mastery,
math,
you need
is a
mastery.
really good one to teach to
They
mastery.
build,
They really, really
it
know it.
builds. Yeah, it builds on top of each other. And if you rush and skip it, and this is another reason I tell people a lot of times when they're little, before they can really read, do not put them online for online learning, because it is too easy to miss something or miss a step. And then by the time you catch it, you're in trouble. It's like, then somebody's, and not that children do not have learning disabilities, but I think sometimes what they think may be learning disabilities is just they've missed a step and they've got to back up. And it's completely okay. If you're in the middle of elementary school and you feel like your child's reading is not strong, it's okay. You can back up. Buy something like this, tear the top off where they don't see this. You would never want to dishonor them and make them feel like they're not succeeding. But you can totally get rid of this and back up. So anyway, so I want to talk about some of the steps, because I can talk about phonics all day long. Letter sounds. We've gone over that several times. Letter sounds. I'm even beginning to wonder if maybe it's best, like if you do an A, then you show all the different kinds of sounds the A makes, the long sound, the soft sound. So it's not a surprise later. That's one thing I've realized with Lacey is her curriculum starts with the short vowel, and then later on we suddenly throw in the long vowel. Well, if I had started in the beginning showing that there was two sounds, it might not have been jarring. It might not have made us wait at that step to finish that step quite so fast. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? That
Hmm.
if I had told her that, then if we had started that way, then going through the letter sounds might not have been, we might have not have had a stumble. But anyway, so then you're going to go next, you're going to blend words. And the C and the V only stands for consonant and vowel. So don't think it's alien language. It's not. They're just talking about blending these sounds. So you're blending like the cat, and you're just, or let's see, what else? What else could it be? Cart. You're just blending those together. Simple words. They've learned the sound. There's no tricks with this. Then this is where me and Lacey are right now. Consonant and vowel digraphs. I didn't know these things had a name. It's basically like s and sh and ch and swa, and putting those two sounds together and making them blend into one sound. And then the vowels too. And I didn't even realize that vowels, I didn't realize they had names. Who knew? I guess because, our teachers might have known. But so that's one step. Then this, we're not there yet, but this is like, A and A make the same sound, but they're spelled different. And then when you finally finish all the phonics, because this is about the last one, then you got to do fluency and accuracy, and you got to practice. And that's one thing no one ever told me when I was teaching my first kids, that when you finish the phonics, it doesn't end. You have to keep going and you have to practice and you have to practice and you have to practice. And I had one that would tell people until she was 8 years old that she couldn't read, even though she could, because it wasn't easy. That was the most embarrassing thing she ever said to anybody. She would tell people she couldn't read. She could. It just wasn't easy yet. And until she got fluent, then she stopped. But mamas don't realize that that is a whole part of it. And so, like when Lisi finishes her book, we'll do the next year. We'll spend the next year practicing. I won't even move on to anything else until she's practiced for a year. And that's to me, everybody's different, but I think it's important to do that. What did you think? How, Susan, do you remember how old your kids were when they were kind of fluent, when you felt like they were fluent reading? I know mine were around third grade.
Yeah, I want to say I would say more third grade fluent. They were more fluent.
Yeah.
In third grade, it was kind of choppy until
Yeah.
then, and yeah.
Somewhere around third or fourth grade, it's like they moved from that practice and they suddenly realize it's easier. And it's like, and I'm Cole now. Nobody judge me. Cole loved Diary of a Wimpy Kid and read it and read it and read it and reread it to his sisters at night while they were laying in bed. And I don't know, most of my kids, it's almost like that's their first book of choice for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's awful.
I've not read
You
it.
know, read it. It has movies.
Uh-uh.
And I think they even now as teens they will laugh and say that the main character is such a crazy, mean kid. But for some reason, it's just written so funny.
Yeah, so the Devin brought up that Cole read the same book frequently. You know, I couldn't I struggled with getting my kids into reading. And the one thing that if you will kind of saved us was I let my kids go to the bookstore or to the library and
Mhm.
pick the books of interest for them. And once cuz of course me being structured, I wanted to pick the books. And I found that if you followed your kid's heart in the book area,
Mhm.
um, because some of them I didn't really want them to read that
I
like
know.
certain comics or I don't want you to think that it was adult in nature. I
Yeah.
don't mean that.
No,
I'm just saying
no.
I
It
it
wasn't your
was
favorite.
it wasn't my favorite, but I
And I've
I
done the same
decided to let
thing.
them read it because that then built those reading skills.
Yeah,
And
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 I had
I
a
both my kids, well, they love to read, so it's like, you know what? If that helps to get them over that hump, it's great. So, hey, Devin,
I'm I'm
on
looking
that
to
note,
see that. Yeah, somebody asked for more examples of the diagraphs, and I'm looking to see if I can find them. I may not have them here.
yeah,
I'll
I was gonna
post
say,
it.
wanted to make sure
I'll
you saw
post
that
some. Yeah,
question.
I'll post some later. I don't know. I'll get. I don't know that you can find good worksheets. I will look and see, but I've got something coming up. I got more
You
coming up.
Also, a lot of times, the blessings bundles,
We'll
keep your
have
eye on the
extras.
blessings bundles. There will be one coming out in the next few weeks. The
Hmm.
blessings bundles, if you guys are not familiar with them, are free.
Yeah,
And Devin and I both talk about them in the groups. We also include them in our newsletters and things like that. And a lot of times there's a lot of free handouts for that kind of stuff in the blessings bundle. And
yes,
the blessings bundle is full of stuff from course creators and was focusing in on homeschooling. And so when we talk about the blessings bundle sometime in the next few weeks,
it'll come
go
out
and
real
yeah,
free. Go look. You can
go
download it and
look.
then go through, and they have all this free stuff, and they'll have extras. But anyway, so that's basically the bulk of my of my workshop. Um,
No, I think it's great. I think we should
I,
ask that question again. That you and I talked
it
about at the
is
very
good.
beginning, is that each one of us was probably taught in a different way on how to read. For
On
those of you
how
that
to
have
read
joined us,
the wrong
how did
one.
you learn how to read? Like Devin and I were talking about early on in the workshop, as well as before we came live here with you guys. We were talking about I didn't learn
I didn't know, and it
phonetically how to read, and it made reading a big challenge for me. I learned sight words and things like that, but
yeah,
and as I got older and you'd be in class and people would say, "Well, just sound it out." Well, I didn't know how to sound it out because I had
and
never
it
learned how
makes
to sound out words phonetically.
yeah, and it makes teaching our kids to read so stressful because we don't know what we're looking for. And I mean, I would find a new blend in here, and I would go like we were doing controlled R, which is like ER, IR, OR, and I'm like controlled R. What is this? And I'd look at it and go, They all make the don't they all make the And I'm like, so it's like it becomes stressful, but it doesn't need to be stressful because if we relax, we'll enjoy it. I have enjoyed it with Lacey so much. I'll tell you my funny story. When I got pregnant, Lacey's my surprise. And when I got pregnant with her, I cried for almost 3 months because I was going to have to teach her phonics. I'm not even kidding. That's not a made up joke. I cried. I had just finished with Olivia, finished phonics, and I did not want to do it again. And that's probably why I didn't go back to this one. I did several other ones first because I was so afraid that I was going to not like it. But then I went back to it and I'm like, why am I, you know, trying to reinvent the wheel, finding something new when I know how this works. And it has been such a pleasure we curl up on the bed in the morning. We do our math. We do well, that's basically, phonics is language arts. We do our phonics and we enjoy ourselves. And it has been so much calmer. I think some of it is the difference because it's just one, but mostly it's because I'm a lot more relaxed than I was when I started.
Yeah, so hey mamas. Well, I know we've got men in our groups too. So, okay, parents. Do you have any tips that you want to share? But please let us know inside the comments. Also, if you have a favorite curriculum that you
Yeah,
like
let us know what
using,
you
let us
like.
know. You were here all to help one another in our homeschool
Yeah.
journeys. So, by all means, share away, make
So
comments.
while we're there, I want to announce something. I have something coming this year. I have got, I'm calling it the Phonics Club. It's going to be a place for parents to have support as they teach their kids to read, and it is coming. What I'm going to do is there is a Google form. I guess it's up
Oh,
above the
yeah.
video. Yeah, it's up above the video. I always forget. It's going to be there and you can fill it out and you're kind of going to be my test group. We're going to go through phonics together. And what it's going to be is support. It's not to teach your kids to read. I'm going to help you teach your kids to read and we're going to go through it'll be almost I don't want to call it an e-course. I think it's more involved than that, but we're going to go through each step I talked about earlier. We'll go through the letter sounds and you'll be able to go through there. I'll have all the free resources. So it's like, I don't know how this, when we get into the phonics, if you say, I don't know what this sounds like, I will have there all the YouTube videos you can find telling you how to make that sound. Everything will be there.
That sounds so
And
awesome.
I know I'm really excited about it because I really love talking about phonics now. It's really kind of funny because I never expected I would be there. But it'll have that. We're going to have that. I'm in the works with making worksheets because sometimes you cannot find enough worksheets and they're going to be in there. And I'm actually working with an illustrator to work on readers. So there'll be readers in there and some will be free, some will be on Amazon. And we're trying to look at making it really, really affordable. So if you sign up and you decide you want to buy on Amazon, it's like, about what you would do if you're printing. So it's there. You don't have to, it'll be a no brainer. So we're trying to keep it real, but lots of free resources. And it's going to be free. If you're in the test group, it's free. I don't know that it will stay free. That is something my test group will decide at the end of once we get everything in there, they'll decide whether it needs to, help me set the price and if it needs a price or if it needs to stay free. It may stay free. I like free. That's me. That's my heart. I like mamas having free resources. So
Yeah, Jessica, I'm excited about it too. So we'll both have to race out there and click on that form.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah, please
Yeah,
get
I
in there,
agree
come
with
on.
you. It sounds very exciting, Jessica,
Yeah,
so thank
and
you for your comment.
I think I'm gonna cap it at 100. I know that sounds a lot, but it's not really a lot. In our groups, we have way more than 100 mamas, but I think I'm gonna cap it around there. But you'll get in there free, and then the test group will decide if it stays free or what we're gonna do with it. I want them to help me. I know what I want to do, but sometimes what you want to do is not always what parents want. And so I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it because I've really enjoyed this year with Lucy.
That's
And
so awesome.
yeah.
I
So
think that sounds like a
anyway,
great program, so super
yay!
exciting.
We'll have
Yay!
videos. We'll have videos. We'll go over curriculum. I'll talk about the different curriculums, maybe have some examples to show you where to find them. We're going to go over the sounds. We'll have all the free resources I can find for for letter sounds, and that'll be step one. That will be the first one loaded. Then we'll load the next one. We'll have all the free resources so that you know what I've used, what other people's used, what each other's used, and we might even do some Zoom calls so that we can all get together and talk and brainstorm.
That sounds so awesome.
I know I'm excited.
Devin, you've given us a
I'm
bunch of great
excited.
tips. Great
I
tips,
know
great
this
information, and
is
now a
one
new
of my
neat little
favorite things.
club. That is so awesome. So, so awesome.
Okay. But
So,
anyway,
hey parents, if you have found tonight's workshop helpful, let us know. Give us a note or a like, or please give us an indication that the
ask
workshop
some
has been helpful
questions.
for you. So that's our reward, right, for coming and doing workshops and things like that.
Yeah.
So give us some feedback. We love to hear it. If you have ideas for additional workshops you'd like to see in
Yeah.
2022, you can drop a note in the comments area just below this, and we'll be happy to interact with you, and Devin and I will chat and see what we can do to help you out with that workshop request.
Yay. Okay. Well, mamas, we're going to wrap it up because we like to keep these short. Y'all know we got babies to put to bed. And we'll talk to you soon. Let me know what you need. And we'll see y'all again. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Devin. Bye, everybody.
Bye.